it's Jessie V. So today is a different type of video. I was sitting down last night and suddenly had all of these memories from when I was a kid flood back into my brain, and I was like, did anyone else do these things when they were a kid? Because some of these things were really strange. But then I started talking to some of my friends and they were like, yes Jess, I did that as well. So I thought, why not make a video on this? Because I'm sure I can think of tons of things that everyone did as a kid that they thought was weird, but other people were doing too. Now, I know I'm a lot older than a lot of my viewers. I am turning 24. So my childhood might have been a bit different than yours. So some of these things you might have done and some of these things you may not have done, but I think most of them you have done. So let's just get into the video because I like to have long intros for some reason. First one, wrapping your finger around the telephone cord while you talk to somebody. Now most kids today won't be able to relate to this, but back when my parents had one of those phones with the cords on them, I would just talk and be like, yes, yes. Or I'd wrap my whole body around in it. Number two, being able to open up a brand new CD without scissors or a knife. I know a lot of kids perfected how to open this perfectly. You go to the corner where it's kind of folded over and just like, I don't know if you guys ever drank Kool-Aid or Capri Suns when you were a kid, but they came in those like juice pouch things. And first of all, for some reason I always had difficulty getting the straw in the little pouch. But when you finish it, is it only me or did you spend a few minutes just blowing into the pouch so it would expand? And then you breathe back in and it contracts and you just keep doing that? Was that only me? Maybe? Does anyone remember receiving those little art packs for your birthday or like Christmas or something? Because I feel like this was a gift that everyone just received. And for some reason my favorite part after using all of these supplies was reorganizing them back into the case. That was like always amazing. The crayons would just make that popping sound when it goes back in. Organizing was great. Oh my gosh, that click noise that you would get when rotating the wheel of your disposable camera. Whenever I went on vacation as a kid, my parents would always get me one of those disposable cameras, and the sound of the click, and then take the picture. Oh! Speaking of clicking, do you guys remember those pens that you can get that had like, I don't know, like 10 different colors on them? And I would sit in class and I would pull down each color and just click it and go in a circle. But sometimes two colors would get stuck and then you couldn't use the pen anymore and I was really sad. And I feel like they ran out really quickly. Oh my gosh, probably one of my favorite things was while I was sitting in class and I would put glue all over my hands, and once it would dry, I would just peel it off. And it would be the most satisfying thing. Like, it would feel good, but it would look cool too, like as it was coming off your hand. It looked like you were shedding skin all over your desk. It was great. Okay, I just have one thing to say for the next one, and that is bugles. You guys know what you did with bugles. Oh my gosh. You put them on the end of your fingers, they look like witch hands, you run around, you chase after your friends with them, and then you just satisfyingly take them off and eat them, and then put more on afterwards. This one I know everyone has done. It's when you made pillow forts as a kid. I know my sister and I used to go into the basement and make this huge pillow fort, and we had these little tiny DVD players and we would sit inside of the fort and just like watch movies all night. Okay, I never personally did this one, but I had friends who did this one, and it was when they would mix a bunch of sodas from the soda machine into one cup, and they loved it. And I never really understood that because I only wanted one flavor. Like, I always felt like having more than one flavor would just overwhelm your mouth, you know what I mean? Oh my gosh, do you guys remember those bugs? My parents used to call them couch bugs, but I don't know what they're actually called. But when you touch them, they roll up into a ball. Do you know what I mean? Am I going crazy? Like, I think everyone knows what those bugs are, right? They're creepy, but like cute at the same time. What about when you were a kid and you saw a punch buggy go by and you did the whole like punch buggy no punchbacks thing? Oh my gosh, so my boyfriend Ty still does that. We'll be driving down the road. If he sees one, he'll literally just like punch my shoulder. And I'm like, really? You're still doing that? Still. I'm so horrible for knowing what these things are called, but you know those things that when you were at camp or at school or something, they were like parachute cloth things, and you throw it up into the air and then put it behind you and sit down on the ground, and you look up and you see all of those colors above you like a massive tent. Do you know what I'm talking about? And then it would slowly fall down and then you get out and like do it again. That was the best thing. Or do you remember when you had a CD and you put it in your CD player and it wouldn't really work too well, so you take it out and like rub it on your shirt to try and get it to work better? But usually the problem was there was little like marks or scrapes on the actual CD, which really sucked because there was nothing you could do about that. And then the CD would just like skip while it was playing. Do you guys remember going to Blockbuster? Oh my gosh, that was my favorite thing to do with my dad on a Friday night. He would take my sister and I out to Blockbuster, we would pick a movie, we would pick a snack, and then we'd go back and watch it, and like, there's no more Blockbusters around here anymore. It's really sad. Do you remember smelling those like toys with the strings around them? It was like on a ball with strings around it. I don't know what they're called. Once again, I have no idea what they're called. But they're plasticky, rubber, spiky, squishy toys. Yeah, this is not going anywhere. What about drawing that really stylized S? I know everyone did this. For some reason when I was a kid, it took me forever to figure out how to actually do this. All my friends were like, oh, watch me. And they'd do it perfectly and I'd be like, I don't get it. But now I look back and I'm like, Jets, it was so easy. I could literally do it while closing my eyes. Do you remember telling your future with those, the things that go like this? Cootie catchers? What the heck were they called? But you'd fold it up and someone would say like number 7 and you'd have to do this 7 times and they'd pick like one of those inside panels and you'd open it and tell them their future. Do you know what I'm talking about? Watch when this whole video, everyone watching is like, no, Jess, we don't know what you're talking about. Or like playing MASH, where it would also tell your future, like your future husband, the car, the house, the job you're gonna have, how many kids you're gonna have. I would take these things so seriously as a child. Like if I got a future that I was not happy with, I would literally cry. And I'd be like, we have to play again to change my future. What about when it was really cold outside and you went out and when you blew out, you thought there was like smoke coming out of your mouth? Like I felt like a dragon. I'd go outside and be like, and this giant like smoke cloud would come out of my mouth and I'd be like, yeah, I have a dragon inside me. This one's disgusting. But I know you've done it. When you were really little and you picked your nose, you tasted your booger. I know everyone watching has once, at least once, tasted a booger. Ugh, I don't even remember what it tastes like. That's how long ago it was. But I remember that I have before. And it like gets stuck on one of your teeth and you're like, it's so weird. Ew! A lot of you might have been too young for this, but I remember when I was waiting for my ballet class to start, my dad would be sitting beside me and I'd play that snake game on his old like Nokia phone. I would never get very far, like I would maybe last like 20 seconds and then I would die, which is like really, really lame. But my dad could play for like a really long time and I'd always be so impressed watching him play Snake. I know that for some reason I would take my Barbies in the bath with me. I don't know why, but I'd pretend they were like mermaids and I'd come up with this whole scenario in my head, like they'd be at the beach or like something and my mom would walk in and be like, Jess, you done your bath yet? And I'd be like, no mom, my Barbies are having a conversation right now. And like their hair would be like all wet, their clothes would be all wet, and like I just like doing that. I don't know why. What about when you went on like long car rides, and especially if it was raining out or something, and you'd be in the back seat looking out your window and like pretending you're in a movie, like you're in a movie scene where you're in the car just like looking all sad out the window and like there's a camera outside like watching you as you go down the road and like, I don't know. I always just had those thoughts as a kid. It was really weird. Oh, I remember I always used to catch grasshoppers, but I would instantly regret it because I'd be holding them in my hands and I'd open it and they would have like peed all over me. Same with like ladybugs and stuff, but I would continue to catch them even though I would regret it because like they go to the washroom on my palms. Anyways though, that's all I can think of right now. If you guys can think of anything else that maybe tons of people would have done as kids, definitely comment that down below. I hope this was mostly relatable. I feel like it was. If it wasn't, then I was definitely just a weird child by myself. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!